Hey everybody, I am just making this video quickly because I want to explain a few things. So, first I felt like, and this is something I've been wanting to say for a while, to my fellow Catholics and people I go to church with. I don't know exactly, I'm not a mind reader. I'm pretty good at reading hearts, I think, but I'm not a mind reader. And I can often figure things out by the way people act around me or towards me. And so I just wanted to say that, look, I'm not a prophet that I know of. Anyway, it's not my goal. If I am, I don't know it. I consider myself a Catholic evangelist. I do the best I can. You all know that I wanted to be a priest very much. That doesn't look like it's possible or in the cards. I don't know. All things are possible with God, but with man, it is, roadblock after roadblock and almost impossible. And maybe I'm not cut out to be one. Maybe it's not God's will, or maybe it's not His will anymore. Maybe I missed my opportunity. I don't know. I'm 41. I have pretty serious health issues, always have my whole life. I am poor, and it just is what it is, So if God wants me to, I know that I have a call to something big. That I've known my whole life. God's made it pretty clear. I've got people coming out of the woodwork from Africa, India, Australia, everywhere, telling me that with messages from the Lord, contacting me saying, Jesus wants me to tell you, it's still on. You have a huge mission. He needs you to preach to the world. You're going to be doing big things, this and that. Some of them say that I'm going to be married one day and maybe even have kids and do this. I look at the way the world is right now, and I wonder, how is there possibly time during the tribulation, if we are in it, for all of that to take place? But again, who am I to question God? With Him, all things are possible, and that I am a living testimony to. So, people think I'm a little over dramatic or pious or whatever in church, with the way I stand and my hands clasped and the way I kiss the altar ground and the way I act in church and the way I pray and my strong faith. And I understand that most people don't have the faith that I have, but I was given that as a gift from God because I asked for it. I was given the gift of wisdom so that I can preach and advance His kingdom. He said I would have it. There's a lot of things that, yes, when I say that I talk to God, I mean, it's not like He calls me on the telephone. It's not like He shows up in my bedroom. But He's got His ways, and I don't have an hour to explain everything. And you know what? Some things are between God and I anyway. It's not everybody's business. If you lack faith, then of course you're not going to believe me. That somebody like me, a little nobody like me, a terrible sinner, or at least I was in my past, could possibly ever be employed by God to do anything important or to be worth listening to. However, you obviously don't know the Bible. When God uses people, He always chose like the worst sinners and the least likely people, like little David, Jonah. I mean, the list goes on. St. Paul used to be Saul. He murdered Christians. I mean, I'm probably the perfect material, actually, for someone that God would use in this modern day. Because I'm nobody and the worst choice ever, and because I need Him completely for everything. So, don't judge, please, because you don't know me. You don't know my relationship with God. You don't know my faith. You don't know why. If you don't believe my, what you call tall tales of all these miracles and this and that, that's not my problem. You obviously have a different walk with God, different relationship. Maybe you don't have enough faith. Maybe you don't really truly live with Him all in 24/7. Maybe you don't really have a close relationship. Maybe you're not. I don't know what your issue is. I don't know. We can't. God does something different with each one of us in His own way, for His own will, plan, purpose, and pleasure. Okay? So we are not to, maybe some of you get jealous that God is always answering my prayers and bailing me out of serious trouble. When I need stuff, I pray for everything. Food, clothing, a shelter, whatever. I've had a hard life, and others have had it way harder. So I'm a living testimony living testament that God is real, that the Bible is true, that you can rely on it. That the more faith you have, the more humility, the more dedication you give to God, the more you give of yourself to God and others, the more you love Him and others, the more you believe, the more you will see miracles, the more He will use you. So, like I said, I'm making this video because I'm tired of being looked at strange by others in the pew. I'm tired of some of you who are really busy in the church, doing a lot of different things. You work with the church, you're close to the priest, you're well known. It's like it's typical. It's actually like, the popular crowd. There's always a few who are involved in everything, from parties to decorating to, filming things at church, whatever. And the priest has his favorites, and I'm not one of them. And I don't want to be one of them because I'm too busy and I have my own things to do and I don't have time to do all that stuff. And I'm glad we all have different things we need to do for the church. I wish I could do more for the church. I'm not invited to. I'm not allowed to. I think that the general rule, or the general opinion of me, and I've not been told this, I just think, is that people think I'm crazy or not worth respecting, or I don't know. But I'm making this video because I want to tell people that you don't know me. You only know what I show you and what I give you to know. You do not know my backstory, unless you watch all my videos. I try to tell people everything about me because I want them to see what God's done with me in my life and why I'm the way I am and what made me this way and where I've come from. I try to be a good example of faith because if it weren't for my faith, I wouldn't be here. I'm telling you. God has done amazing things for me that you would not believe, and that's the problem. A lot of my stories people don't believe. I can't help that. I cannot help it. I don't lie to you, because liars have a place in the lake of fire. Jesus said that. So I'm not going to go out there and anger God any more than I already have and, lie to people. I don't make money off of anything. I don't make these videos for money. I don't gain anything by doing this other than hopefully merits for heaven one day. I hope that souls will come to Christ and see that it's simple. It's not a big deal. It's not rocket science, I know that the church is scary and it seems like it's so demanding and it's so hard to be a Christian and holy, but I'm showing you it's not. Yes, there are rules and obligations. Jesus meets you where you're at. He doesn't expect you to be Pope, within 24 hours. You gotta, it's a everyday walk. And so it's taken me 41 years to be the person I am now. I wish I had done everything different in my life, but I didn't. And I can't change the past. I can only make today count and move forward. So I'm trying to encourage you guys. But I do not like people not respecting me or being unloving, uncharitable. I don't care if you wear veils in church. I don't care if you run the AV equipment. I don't care if you're decorating the church. I don't care if you're best friends with Father Turner. I don't care if you know the Pope. I don't care who you are or what you do. You are obligated by God, commanded to love me as well. And I'm one of your brothers. I don't treat others terribly. I treat them the way I want to be treated. I expect the same love and respect and consideration from all of you in my church that I give you. That is commanded of you. So don't look down at me. You guys don't invite me anywhere. You don't talk to me. You don't respect me. I'll be lucky to get a hello, and even that is kind of like, oh, yeah, hi, Steve. We're supposed to be a family. We need each other, okay? I don't ask anything from you. So if you think I'm weird or a liar or crazy or don't like my radical faith, I'm sorry. Then don't watch my videos. I don't know what to tell you. But I know that I'm doing with all my heart the best that I can for the Lord and for all of you. And I know that God wants me to do these things. So that's all I can explain. On Judgment Day, I'm the only one that's going to stand there and be judged. You can't speak for me and I can't speak for you. We are all going to be judged one day. And I don't want to be found wanting. And I don't want God angry at me. And I might be totally wrong. And then I'm going to go to hell. And I don't know. We only got one shot at this. So yeah, I do this with fear and trembling. So please, lay off. And just, love me. Try the best you can to love me. Because if you can't love me, and I'm really easy to love, if you get to know me, then you're not going to love your enemy. And you're not going to love God perfectly. And so, just, I don't know. I bring people into the church, and the Catholic Church, and a lot of them are coming from Protestantism and stuff, and they don't want to come back because they all tell me the same thing. There's a serious lack of love and charity and fellowship. We don't feel wanted, loved, respected. In Protestant churches, they say that they go and everybody's like, hey, how you doing? And they're so loving and like a family, and it's fun to go to church. And then they come to the Catholic Church and everybody's so rigid and mean and cold, and they don't talk to anybody, and then they run out the door as soon as it's over. We need to stop that. That is not what Jesus wants. That is not how it's supposed to be. That is not Christian. So we need to all work on that and make everybody feel welcome. The Protestants should not have a one-up on us because they're more friendly and fellowship-wise and outgoing. Catholics are supposed to be the same. We're still Christians. We're still brothers and sisters with them. So we need to work on that. And if you can't treat me, a fellow Catholic, properly, you're not going to treat strangers or Protestants properly. So please work on that. I just feel like I need to tell people this and make this video. And also I wanted to give you guys an update. I am grateful that God has used many people to help me, give me shelter, food, stuff that I need, money when I need it for bills and for car repairs. I have been blessed recently with a miracle, and I don't want to get into detail because it's between God and I think I tell people too much and then bad things happen. So all I can tell you is that, I lost a friend, a dear friend that I've been working on trying to get to the Lord for over 20 years. And I don't know if he made it or not. It's not looking good because if you knew his life, but we hope. And at his funeral, well, first of all, I was told by some prophets who are not even Catholic, they contacted me over the internet. Two from Africa, I've never met before, they're not even on my Facebook page, reached out to me, and one that I've been talking to from India. And all of them said that I was getting a job within a couple days. And I'm like, I applied to a couple places, but they weren't coming through anytime soon, and I don't think I'm qualified or whatever. But no, they're like, no, tomorrow everything changes. God's got a job for you that you're not expecting. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to a funeral tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to be, unless I'm going to become a funeral attendant, I don't know. Well, long story short, I was offered a job by a person high up in a company at dinner after the funeral. It's a good career opportunity. I'm looking forward to it. It's something I've done in the past, in my 20s. I've been praying for God to give me a good full-time job with benefits and everything I'm going to need so I can sustain myself. And finally, it looks like the ship came in. And so I start on Monday, full-time. I'm a little worried that it's going to take me away from God and church. I won't be able to go as much because it's going to be a very busy job Monday through Friday. I'm not going to have a flexible schedule and all that, but the good thing is, glory be to God, he knows what he's doing. If he's taking me to it, he'll take me through it. So praise God for that and all the people who pray for me. Thank you. The other thing is, my car broke down. Again, I just got it out of the shop. I put thousands into this thing, and now it's spewing fluid all over the car, green fluid like lava. And so it's not drivable. So I've been using Donna's car, and now I'm going to have to inconvenience her and drive her car all week to work. I am in the middle of getting a car in the process. I've applied. I keep getting rejected. I'm not trying to get new cars. I'm trying to get reliable vehicles. I have one shot left. I was told the day before yesterday, there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is you haven't been officially denied. And this was the last lot. Okay, the last dealer I went to. All the others denied me and ran my credit and denied me. They said, but we're going to know by Friday or Saturday if the manager is going to approve you. So we wanted to give you a little bit of hope before Thanksgiving. I'm hoping I will get a phone call that I get approved for this car. It's an older vehicle. It's got over 88,000 miles on it, whatever. But you know what? I need a car. I need one that's not going to be breaking down all the time. I just hope I can afford the payments and the repairs. So anyway, it looks like God is going to be getting me a car soon. Praise God. I'll be paying for it, of course. It's not going to be free. But a car is coming. And those prophets also said I was going to be getting a car and a job all within the same week. And I don't doubt God. I'm like, listen, all things are possible with God. But on for me, it is humanly impossible. It's not possible. But with God, it is. So the job came through. Hi, Bill. And now it looks like the car's coming through. So praise God. Again, I just wanted to tell you guys that. And I will be having hopefully a reliable car and a very good job and career opportunity all starting this week. And I'm so grateful to God for that. Now we need to pray for my health. Please pray that my health does not get in the way, because I have been working Monday through Friday for over a year now, part-time. And it's a very flexible job, thank God, because my health issues get in the way every day. And so it's going to be very, very hard for me to get up 6 in the morning and get to work by 9. It's further drive, and get home, it's an 8-hour shift or more, Monday through Friday or more. And it's going to be very taxing on my health. But I need this opportunity. I have to make it work. And it's going to be hard, just like seminary. When I was in seminary, my health was the biggest problem because of the sleep apnea and the fatigue and the health issues and the Crohn's disease and all the other stuff I deal with. It was very, very hard to go. And in seminary, it's 7 days a week, non-stop. Like, you don't stop. You don't have any time to get into any kind of trouble or sin or even take a nap. You don't have time to get sick. It's a lot of work. I mean, we're talking reading like 4 books a week, 30-page book reports in every class. Classes are 2 hours long, 6 to 8 hours a day, and on top of everything else. And seminary that's now I understand. Maybe the Lord took me there and allowed me to get in. So I stopped nagging him. Lord, let me be a priest. Let me go to seminary. Well, I only lasted 6 months, and my health could not handle it. That's why they want younger, healthy guys. And when they say you need to be healthy, that's why. Because if you have any kind of health problems or trouble sleeping or sleep apnea or anything, you're not going to be able to make it far. It is very grueling and demanding. So my health was a major problem. But I think that if they had worked with me in my disabilities, I would have been fine. There are deaf people. There are handicapped priests and seminarians. There are blind ones. I mean, they have people with problems. It's just that I guess they didn't want me to have problems. I don't know. But they were, basically I got ran out of there because I was too rigid, too conservative, too traditional for their liking. And so they ran me out. That's what it was. And they tried to use my health as a major excuse for being that way to me, but it wasn't, whatever. God saw that. And so even if I had left and I wasn't supposed to leave, maybe I gave up too soon, maybe I let him run me out, God had a plan B. So I do not know what his future is for me. I am, part of me feels a little upset because I didn't want to let go of the possibility of having a ministry or being a priest in the future or a brother, because that's really where my heart is. But now I'm going to be going into the corporate world, and I'm going to be working full-time. And it's like I didn't want to do that because it's like, Lord, I'm trying to get closer to you, and now I'm going back into the world, and I might have a home, and I might have a lot of money, and I might have all these things, but that doesn't mean as much to me as you do, Lord, like as holiness does, as being a saint does. It seems like I'm going in the opposite direction here. But I do need the money to survive, so I have to do this, so it is going to be a very big cross, because I've got to go back into balancing, still being as faithful to God as I am, or better, because I need to be better, and balancing a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday on top of it all. So please, I need your prayers that my health, it doesn't get in the way and ruin things, and that I get a car, because I need a good, reliable vehicle right away for this job. Otherwise I'm not going to stand a chance, and winter's coming, and I've been taking Donna's car every day, and her car doesn't have heat, it doesn't defrost, it's full of mold, it's on its last leg, and if it breaks she cannot afford to fix it. So, and I don't have the ability to fix it for her, and so she needs her car, and she's being nice enough to let me use it all the time, which means she's stuck missing her appointments, church, and stuck home all the time when I can't bring her anywhere. So, and I have her car. So, anyway, like I said, your prayers are important. Any donations that have come to me have gone to the car and to the bills and stuff. As I said, I don't have fun. I don't waste it on anything. But here's my car, my blue truck sitting there, as it has been for 2 weeks now, undrivable again. and I'm going to be trading it in if I get this other car. So, and I just hope that this next car, because I'm going to be stuck at a 4 to 6 year loan on an old vehicle. And I really didn't want to lose this truck, but it's going to need another $2,000 just to fix what's wrong with it now, and there's still thousands and thousands of dollars more that need to go into it still. So I would need another $6,000 just to keep this really old Ford Explorer going, and it just doesn't. You got to stop dumping money in eventually. It's just ridiculous. So if I'm going to be paying $400 or $500 a month in car repairs, as I have been, I could have had a car payment. The only problem is credit. And, having repos on your record and all this other stuff. Nobody wants to give you a loan. Nobody wants to give you a car. So I was lucky to buy this one with cash, what little cash I had. And I've been trying to maintain it. And it's got incredible heat. I got new tires on. I put $7,000 into it already. I mean, I love this truck, and I hate to have to get rid of it. It's perfect for the winter, the snow. I just love SUVs. And now I have to go step down to a sedan because it's all I can get. So it breaks my heart. So hopefully this new career path will work for me, and everything's going to give me enough money to get a better car one day and a home of my own, and then maybe get married. I would like to get married. I guess kids are probably off the radar at this point, at this age, but if I can't be a priest, I beg God. I'm like, Lord, I will preach. I'll do whatever you want, but I want to have a wife. I've always wanted to be able to have that, second to the priesthood. So, I don't know. I'm just making this video because I'm not going to be able to, I'm going to be very busy soon. Starting, basically today, and this weekend I have so much to do to get ready for this new job that starts on Monday, and I have no time to myself. Every day is booked. I have fife and drum gigs tomorrow and church, and then a gig all night tomorrow night, and then so basically then Sunday's church again, and it's just very little time to get other stuff done. So I'm making this video. It's probably one of my last for a while. I mean, unless I can make them in the car and stuff, I try to make them when I can. I try to do this as a ministry. I try to keep people up to date with what's going on. I will say that Thanksgiving, I made it as cozy as I could. God blessed me with two good friends, Donna and Bob. And we prayed the rosary, we had dinner and this and that I made. Well, I bought it, but from the diner, but whatever. I did not even hear from my family. They all did the huge family gathering as they always do, and they didn't even text or call me or invite me or anything as usual. So that was hard, It's sad for me when I don't get to. They're not coming back. My family's made it very clear that I'm dead to them. They kept telling me that, and they meant it. So I guess I'm just going to move on and forget them the best I can, and you just have to. I do know that when God calls somebody, He does tell them, if you don't leave your mother, father, sister, brother, wife, children, and follow me, you're not worthy of me. If you put two hands to the plow and look back, you're not worthy of me. Before you follow me and become my disciple, first count the cost. It might require your very life, your blood. It might require martyrdom. It might require that you leave your family, your wife, whatever, your home, your job. So that's what happened. So I know that the Lord, for my own good, somehow has separated me from that, I hate to say it, but ungodly family who hates me and who's always thought terribly of me and has slandered me, and they're not on the same path as me, and I love them so much, and I forgive them, and I miss them, and I offer up masses for them and suffering, and I want them saved. But it's not looking good, and they just don't, I don't know, they don't know how to love. If they can't love me, their own flesh and blood, their own family member, then how are they going to love God or others? Or people don't understand this. Like, I make these videos to make it clear. You must be a Christian to go to heaven. And you must learn to obey God. And that means the first commandment, love God with all your heart, might, spirit, life, strength. And love all others, including your enemies, as you love yourself. If our own family members can't do that, how are they loving God or others? People are not afraid of God or of hell, and it's a terrifying thing. I'm thinking about it every day. What if today's my last day and I die? Am I ready? Because I can't come back, and I'm going to be judged. And I people say, "Oh, you're being paranoid, you're scrupulous, whatever." No, stop. Stop with the, oh, God is love and love is love. And you guys stop with the lukewarm garbage. Yes, God is a loving, merciful God and Father. He wishes for no one to perish, but you will perish if you don't do what he said. And that is his own words. Read the Sermon on the Mount. I mean, so we have to be having a holy, reverent fear of God every day, a healthy fear. God said, do not fear anything or anyone but me, who can throw you both body and soul into hell. Don't fear the devil, don't fear anybody else but God. And he's not even fearing God, but fearing offending him, right? And I know that I offend him every day in some way or not intentionally. And so we need to just step up our game, all right? And God is good, you know? He blesses me, he gives me everything I need. Even though I am not worthy, I'm not always in a state of grace, you know. He's always faithful even when we're not. But it's not going to guarantee you heaven just because you're getting miracles and God hears your prayers and all that stuff. No, he's just being a good father, as he said. He's being faithful to his word. But if you want to go to heaven, that's a whole other thing. You need to really be a real Christian. No lukewarmness, you got to read up on the saints. You know, you really have to believe. We can't just go to church and say that we're Christian and this and that. You have to live it. And the biggest thing that we need to master is love of God and love of neighbor. And again, there's 10 commandments, but the first is the most important, because if you master the first, you will cover all the commandments easily. And why? Because if you love God perfectly as he commands, then you'll love all others perfectly. So you will not sin against God, which means you won't break any of his commandments, and you won't sin against anybody else, yourself, your neighbor, an enemy, because you'll be obeying all the commandments. That's why he said, perfect love casts out fear of judgment in hell. And if you love covers a multitude of your sins. So you might be on Judgment Day worthy to go to hell, but Jesus is going to look and say, you know what, your good outweighs your bad. You did these things, but you loved people and you loved me. Well done. You know, those acts of love and charity that you did throughout your life, those people you helped, the times you forgave, the times you prayed and suffered for others, the times you gave food and water to homeless people, I saw that. And that's going to cover a lot of the things you would be condemned for. So can we at least learn to properly love down here? I mean, is it so much to ask? And I mean, you would think it'd be easy, right? Loving's easy, but it's not. It's not as easy as it seems. So we need to learn to love God first, before all human beings, and perfectly, and then all others. And you can't love others if you don't love yourself properly either. So you must learn to have a healthy love of yourself as well. Again, it's not easy to walk the walk of Christianity. That's why it's called the narrow road of the cross. But it is very critical that you learn how to do it, and that you do it, and that you take it seriously every day. I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here, because I don't do it perfectly either, but I make these videos to remind myself and all of you. Iron sharpens iron. So we have to keep being there for one another and reminding each other of this every day and helping each other every day. So yeah, that's it. I think I covered everything I wanted to say. You have an update now. Thank you for your prayers. I'm going to be starting a new job, new career path next week on Monday. I no longer work for the elderly company I left. Wednesday was my last day. I am hoping to get here that I'm going to get one of these cars that I've been trying to get. Hopefully soon. Hopefully before Monday would be nice, so I could have it for work. And yeah, you know, I still need prayers for my sanctification, for my health. But I just wanted to thank everybody for your prayers. I want to tell other people out there who do look down their nose at me, don't judge me. That's the other thing I meant to say. Okay, this is very important. I wanted to start the video with this, but there's a lot of false prophets in the world, okay? A lot of false prophets out there. A lot of different prophecies. I post a lot of stuff on my page. I cannot guarantee that everything is accurate or true. I believe they are, so I post them. But You have to understand. You need to know the Bible yourself. You need to have a relationship with God yourself. I do not claim to be a prophet. If I am, I don't know it. I don't even want to take that on. I know I'm an evangelist. I know I'm doing the best I can with what little I have. But that's all I know. So I do what I can. I trust my videos more than I trust the videos I post. But the bottom line is, what if they are true? You know, there's a lot of false prophets and false videos out there, but some of them are bound to be true. So what do we learn from this? Always be ready. I post what I post on there because at the very least it's informative, and it will remind us that we must always be ready, because Jesus can come at any time. The tribulation is already beginning, I believe. So we need to be ready. And so, yeah, I'm starting a career and this and that and whatever, but I'm not forgetting everything I've been preaching and waiting for. There's still 3 days of darkness possibly coming. There's still the tribulation. There's still going to be terrible things on the earth. But you don't live in fear. And you can't live in a bomb shelter all day long. You still have to get out there into the world and go to work and live, and trust that if you're walking with God, He will notify you when you need to leave or where you need to be, or He'll protect you or whatever. And if He doesn't, that's because we all have a time that only God knows. When our time is up, it's up. It could be a car accident, it could be in your sleep, it could be a stroke. You don't know. I do know this much, though. None of us will die unless God says so. That is why I don't worry. Because I'm not going anywhere. And I almost died many times. But I wouldn't be here making these videos if it wasn't for God saying it's not your time. And when it is my time, only He can decide that, and nobody's going to change His mind except for Him. So, why worry? That's why it's not about trying to live a long life. It's about being thankful and grateful for the time we have been given, and doing the best we can with the time we've been given, and, always be ready. Always be ready for death and judgment. If you do that, and you're walking the straight and narrow, and you're walking the path of holiness and righteousness and obedience, you don't have to fear God and death and judgment. He's going to be waiting for you with a smile and open arms saying, well done, come home, welcome home, my good and faithful servants. But if you end up dead and you're standing before His white throne of judgment, that means you're going to hell, and you should be afraid. And it's too late. So I make these videos to keep reminding myself and all others who they may benefit that we must keep God first and foremost in our life constantly, every day. We must always be ready. We must really, really avoid sin at all cost. All sin. We cannot take this lightly. We cannot keep getting too distracted by the cares of this world and things that need to be done. Like, yes, we have to go to work. There's things that are always needing to be focused on in life. We have to go to work. We have bills. You got to give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. But do it in a way that is appropriate. Put God first still, and all things will fall in line. If you don't, you're making a mistake and you're wasting your life. So please, find a happy balance. You have to prioritize. God and the church come first no matter what. If your job doesn't allow it, get a different job. If, we need things in this life. Yes, you have to work. You have to pay taxes. God knows that. But He also knows that He's still commanded that He comes first. And so, because this life is not all about just going to work 9 to 5 and having a house and having a car and raising kids and dying. It's about you getting to know God, worshiping Him properly, and making it to heaven. That's your main goal. But the world seems to drown that out, and we forget that through the busyness of the world, we're forgetting that we're here for God's purpose and to become holy so we can go to heaven. And if you waste your whole life just on worldly things about work and careers and cars and fun and pleasure and whatever, marriage and all those things have their place, but they're supposed to be done in a way that sanctifies and makes you holy. If they're not done according to God's way, don't do them. Because they're just going to waste your life, and you're going to go to hell in the end. And what is the purpose of existing if you're not going to make it? So this is what I keep stressing. This has been on my heart and mind every day. Like the Lord keeps saying, Stephen, remember, That's all fine. You want another car. That's all fine. You're starting a job. Yes, I know that you need things. Have I ever not given you food when you needed it? Or a place to sleep, even if it's not your own? Or a car or a job? I told you, put me first in my kingdom, and all these things would be given unto you, right? Yep. Okay, remember that. Because you're going to get very busy soon. And I don't want to fall behind. If God gets on the back burner again, your soul's in jeopardy. And so I'm reminding myself of this. It is not easy, guys. Listen, you gotta realize it's pouring rain out right now and it's cold, so I gotta get going. So if you hear all that noise, it's the tin roof. We have to make sure, guys, that you might have to cut out vacations and fun and movie nights and sports and anything that takes up extra time. I mean, I know a lot of us have to work hard. We're stressed out by life. We want to play. We want to go on vacation. We want to watch movies. We want to have fun. We don't just want to work, and this and that. And so, but you have to realize what's more important. You only have one shot at life, and you don't know how long you're going to be here. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. And your life is not for all those things. It's to come to know and love and serve God. And so God often gets no place in people's life or last place, and that's not going to get you to heaven. He must, and he commands to be first place, and everything else second to none. So if you really do this right and you're putting God first and church first and everything, that leaves very little time, unfortunately, for fun and recreation and stuff, or sin, because after God gets first place, guess what comes second? Caesar. And when I say Caesar, I mean the world, which means work and chores and maintenance on your house and yard work and spending time with your wife and kids if you have them and your dog. And there's just always something to do. It seems like there's very little time to ever rest or have fun, right? And it's true. It is absolutely true. If you do this right, you're not going to have much time. But I'll tell you this much. Most fun that we think is fun is sin in God's eyes anyway. So you're better off, maybe not having fun in life if that's the case. If there's no time for it, and if it's going to be excessive drinking or sleeping around or dating or doing things you're not supposed to do anyway. If you're a Christian, you shouldn't be doing those things anyway. And you know what? Here's the cool thing, though. And I'm going to leave you with this. The closer you get to God, the more you master this walk, the more you don't want to do worldly things, the more you just want to spend as much of your free time in prayer and with God and in church and with those kind of people. And you don't want to be with worldly people. You don't want to watch TV or go to the movies or go on vacation. It's just weird. Like, it becomes easier to not want the things of the world because you love God so much that you just want Him and His Word, and you just want to know more and more about Him, and you want to sing to Him, and you want to praise Him, and you want to be with Him and His people. And that's where you get your joy from. And that's how you have fun. The things of the world that you used to find fun, like sports and entertainment and sex and maybe drugs and rock and roll and all that, no longer do it for you. You're no longer attracted to those things. You don't want to. They're sinful. You actually probably hate them, as God does. And you don't really, it doesn't satisfy you anymore. You don't have fun. You don't find it fun or amusing. You only want to be pleasing God. But it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time to get to that point. But that's how you know you're on the right road. If you do not have a fear of God and of hell, and if you still love the things of the world and desire all the things of the world in the flesh that you know are sinful according to the Bible, then you got to ask yourself, something's wrong here. I'm not making progress, and I'm not becoming holy and saintly. And you need to work on that, because again, tick-tock. We're only given a certain amount of time down here, and our time should be very precious, and we don't have long lives, and we might not be here tomorrow. So you're going to be judged on what you did with your time. And if you say, well, Lord, I watched a lot of sports, I had a lot of sex, and did drugs, and drank a lot of time, and wasted my time drinking in at bars, and oh, I just had fun. It was all about me, and I enjoyed my life, and I went on vacations, and I just slept in late, and I did whatever I wanted to do. He's going to say, that's not what you were created for. What did you do for me and my church? And what did you do for others so that they can come to know me and be saved as well instead of burn in hell. And you're going to say, nothing. I live for myself, not for you, and certainly not for others. And he's going to say, depart from me, you wicked, lazy servant, into the lake of fire prepared for the devil and his demons, because you did not serve your purpose. I created you to come to know and love and serve me, and to love and serve your neighbor. And all you did was work for yourself and for those you loved in your little family, or just yourself. And all you did was enjoy your life. But that's, yes, I gave you this world to build up and enjoy, but not in that way. I never told you to smoke weed and do drugs. I never told you to drink in excess. I never told you to have sex outside of marriage. I never told you to do any of the things you're doing. You're making idols out of stuff like sports and anything that takes first priority over God in your life is considered an idol. It's idolatry in God's eyes. Idols are not just statues that people worship. Idolatry is if you're on the phone too much. Idolatry is if you instead of going to church on Sunday, you're watching football games or baseball. Idolatry is drinking. Anything that you do, if you commit sin, like if you know it's a sin and you do it anyway, that's because that's an idol in your life. And you're going to be judged for that. And if you guys don't know this stuff, it's because you don't want to know it, because you don't want to know, because you don't want to have a guilty conscience, and you want to just be able to enjoy your life without having a guilty conscience. And you don't plan on changing and stopping the sin and all that other stuff, so you just don't want to hear this stuff. You don't want to know it, and you say, well, I don't believe in it. You believe in it. Everybody knows that God is real and the Bible is true. They just choose not to believe. They say that they don't believe in God or heaven or hell because that's convenient for them, so they don't have to worry about knowing what sin is and not doing it. They don't have to worry about changing their life around and their mentality and everything about themselves. They could just do whatever they want, because if there's no heaven and no hell, then there's nothing to be held accountable for, and you get to just do whatever you want in life and enjoy your life and then go to heaven or just die and that's it. No, that's not true in this life. Have that attitude and watch how fast you end up in jail. Well, it's not going to happen in eternity either. So, I'm just trying to remind you people that I don't get paid for these videos. I'm not trying to. I'm not holier than you. I'm not trying to be a hypocrite. I'm not a prophet. I'm not anything. I'm just somebody who gets it, who knows the truth. And when I say it's not just my truth or what I believe, it's what I happen to know for a fact. Many of us do. And those of you who choose not to believe it, well, it's because you don't know like we do for a fact that this is true. So I keep making these videos to reach those of you who seem to think you know everything, and that the Bible's not real, and that God's not real, and there's no heaven and no hell, or there's a God but he's just love, and love is love, and that all that nonsense lies from the pit of hell that you want to believe because it makes it easier for you to just enjoy your life and your sin. Well, you can live like that, go ahead. But I'm telling you, there are eternal, fiery consequences. And I have to warn you, because otherwise if I don't, God's going to say that the people in your life that you could have reached out to, you could have made videos, Steve, you could have preached, you could have evangelized, you could have reached as many as you could. It's like that movie Schindler's List, that when he finally understood at the end, he was trying like hell to save as many people as he could. Well, that's how I am. I'm trying to reach as many people as I can in the little time I have left, because this is important, and I want God to say, well done. I don't want him to say, their blood is on your hands. All those sins of omission, the sins of omission, all the things you didn't do that you knew you should have done or could have done, but chose not to, that's on you. All those people who are in hell because you could have warned them and you didn't, that's on you. So, yeah. Now you see why I make these videos? Every Christian should be thinking this way and being this way. Every Christian should be better than even me. So, what about you who are not Christians yet? What about you who don't even know this stuff? Who don't even read the Bible? Who don't go to church? Who don't pray? Who don't say grace before every meal? Who don't start their day thanking God for another day and saying hello and praying, and end their day the same? And all day throughout. Guys, listen. You have a lot to get learned and done and prioritized in your life, and you are running out of time. I'm not saying this to overwhelm you But you can't afford to give up. You can't afford to not do it. Failure's not an option. So, if you even bother to watch this video, if you do watch this video, you now know again, what are you going to do? Are you going to just ignore it and go back and say, oh, I'm going to go out with my girls or guys tonight and go drinking and clubbing and whatever? Or are you going to pray and read the Bible? Are you going to use your time selfishly on sin and stuff that's just going to hurt your life, your relationships, your body, your eternity, your soul? Or are you going to start making healthier choices and put God first and foremost in your life? Because if you're anything like me, you've spent most of your life doing it your way and just living your way, or the world's way. The way the devil and the world have taught you and deceived you into living. Don't you think that you owe God at least the rest of your time on earth, however long or short it is, to start doing it His way now? Because if you're watching this video, you're still alive, which means God has you alive because there's still hope for you yet. He hasn't given up on you yet. But you don't know if you're going to be alive tomorrow. You don't know when your time's up. And when it is, it is. And so you need to start using the rest of the time you have on becoming a Christian, and a good one, a real one at that. Not a good one, a real one. No one's good but God. But you need to become genuine. So, I'm done. I know that this is preaching to the choir most of the time. It's falling on deaf ears. It's the same few people that watch my videos all the time. I try to share them publicly. Only Christians want to really hear this stuff, but Christians aren't the ones that really need to hear it. It's the ones who are not Christian, or the ones who think they're Christian, but they don't live Christian lives. These are the ones who need to hear it and are not going to listen to me. But you know what? I do it anyway, because I'm commanded to, and because once in a while somebody will hear it, and it will plant a seed in them, and they'll be saved. 90% of you won't do anything with this, or you'll ignore it, you won't believe it, you'll hate me, it's not going to do anything for you. But some of you, it will sharpen, who are already on this walk, and edify and build up and teach. Some of you will want to hear it, and it'll help you, but 90% of you, it's not going to do anything. But I do it anyway for the few. I wish all could be saved, and all could be saved, and that's what Jesus said too. But all won't be saved because most don't want to be. Most were not going to do what they need to do in order to be saved. God wants all to be saved. He wants none to perish, but He also knows that most will perish, and that's their own choice, because they did not love and obey God. God bless you.